So for the last few days, we, the international community behind EOS, have been launching the EOS network. And that process is kind of hard to be involved with in a deep way. Most of us just saw a counter that kept counting. We saw days pass and have no mainnet. And now we're seeing days pass and we're waiting for votes so that we can actually use the network. But I wanted to provide some insight into the process itself of launching because it was really, really inspiring to be part of. And I think that's something that you will relate to the EOS network differently if you have some insight. So these are some of my favorite video clips from the last few days of the launch. And I wanted to share some bits of that with you because it was just super inspiring. This first one is nothing other than the number of people involved. You can see on the screen there's currently 2 pages of people, right? This is 5 by 5, so 50 people. And this eventually in this live stream became 4 pages. So it's 200 people, I think 100 people each time they met. And I think actually the go no go vote was 200 people max. So let me play a little bit of this. You can see, just look at the ethnicities, look at the names. These are people all over the world. China is half of the, I believe they said it was half of the tokens. Total EOS tokens were held in China. So it's a huge contingent. Half 60-ish of the block producers are based in China.
Okay, so again, how do I access this call?
So Timothy, Mark, we see you. I think
I can confirm that Timothy is here. And that email, if you could accept that email.
And what you'll also notice here is there's a little bit of chaos, right? We don't have a plan. We didn't know what we'd run into. There's just a ton of coordination, and again, no leader. There's no one person to go to and be like, "Hey, how do we do this?" So we'll just watch a little bit of the chaos here.
Yeah. I think that'll be the best. So, Mark, if you could just
ask they need to cast a vote for you, and we will trust that it's your vote.
I need to be able to get on this call so I can listen to it. Me sitting right here with like an extra headphone is not something I want to do. It's not comfortable at all. I'd like to be able to participate in the call comfortably.
Okay, we're going to take up too much time with this. I vouch for Timothy. Can we just give him a link so he can get in?
I sent you on Telegram.
Yeah. I'll PM'd you a link. See if that gets you in, will you?
All right. Thank you.
Make sure he knows the password.
I'll share the password.
Right, so while a lot of this might seem like really mundane, remember there's no leadership. Like, this is just a whole bunch of people getting on a conference line worldwide and trying to figure out how to do this stuff. It's different times. You know, this guy looks like he's sitting in a Starbucks. You see a guy in his car in a later video. It's different time zones. People are going to work or coming home from work or whatever they're doing. It's amazing to see the coordination. And by the final go, no-go meeting, they had, and we're only talking 4 days, they had ironed out when you log into here's where you log in, here's the meeting ID. When you log in, set your name this way, set the name of your block producer you're represented this way. It was just like they had a plan. Just a few days in, everybody was following the plan. The meetings went really quickly. Everybody muted. I don't know if you've ever been on a big conference line, but when you've got 200 people on a single conference line, just getting everybody to mute is like near impossible. One of the videos, one of the interviews I saw talked about one of these many coordination meetings where people so want to be part of this and don't want to miss a second of it that during the first few days of the launch, they were plugged into the video, and again, time zones, right? They were doing whatever they had to do. This one guy was in the morning, whatever time zone he was in, and he was taking a shower and he forgot to mute. He wanted to hear the meeting, but he forgot to mute. So they're hearing somebody shower in the background. So it's just an extraordinary process. This next video shows a little clip of, I wanted to show you the international community at work, right? I wanted to give you a taste of what it really looks like to have people from around the world working on this. The two guys hosting, I believe they're located in the US or Canada, I'm almost certain. Neither of them, I think they're both, I don't think either of them are native to the USA or Canada. They both have a mild accent. This guy's got an accent. I don't know where he's from, but I think at the moment he's in Asia. And then the guy he's working with is Asian. So I want to play a little bit of this.
And throughout this journey, I've met some amazing people. And I actually just want to showcase one person who's beside me, who's probably really shy. So you guys met Martin last night, so I'm going to show you guys Tom.
Hi, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Tom can't hear you right now because I got the headphones, but Tom has been advising us in China. He's been doing tremendous work. Tom has been napping during daytime because he hasn't been sleeping at nighttime, because he's been helping us prepare all the activities and all the material that we're preparing in China.
Thanks, Tom, for all you do.
大家好，我是汤姆，是中国的大使。Hi everybody, I am one officially in China. Hi.
Great. Yeah. Can you tell him thank you for us, Yves, since he can't hear us?
Yeah, thank you. They say thank you. So it's been amazing to be part of this and to see all the progress that's happened, and to see as well people from different cultures, from different parts of the world in different time zones come together and reach consensus on truly breaking type of technologies. We've never seen this before. There's no precedent.
Right. And the distribution list is filled with people from all around the world and from different levels of experience and skills and all kinds of stuff. Looking forward to see what we can do together as a community, to be sure.
Yeah. And even just the registration. I mean, up until a week ago, we had, 40% registration, and people were freaking out with reason. But the idea was, well, most likely all of these tokens are held in exchanges. The exchanges are going to be waiting until the very last minute to do their snap, et cetera, et cetera. And we've seen that we're at 99.6% registration.
99.6. Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah, so I think it's 4 million tokens out of 1 billion that are unregistered. But then we've already seen people in the channels come about and say, hey, I forgot to register my tokens. What can I do? And so right now it's just giving out information to people. And in this case, if you're listening in, you have not registered your tokens, you will be able to do so at a later date. So your tokens are not lost.
Cool.
Very nice.
Thanks for checking in, Yves.
Yeah.
Just consider 99.6% of tokens registered. What are the chances? What would you have bet out of all the tokens out there? How many people would go through the registration process? If you're like me, you were pretty clear that it's not straightforward, right? There were some tools out there, and it wasn't super hard if you're already in the space. But to someone who's not in the space, for new entrants who heard about EOS and bought some, I don't know, 99.6%, and then those remaining 0.4% being in communication saying, hey, I'm part of that 4%, how do I register my tokens? That's an incredible community. That is an incredibly well-engaged community. So that blew my mind. This one, I've talked about the time zones and languages and cultures and whatnot. Because the world was kind of split between the Western world and the Asian world because of time zones and language, and ownership, right? Percentage of ownership. There was such a huge number of people and block producers in China that not only held tokens, but block producers, right? People who were going to run the network. There's tons of technical information and coordination that had to happen with China. And just blows my mind how many people are bilingual. But then we needed translation into Chinese. Well, in these live meetings, they set it up as, we're going to talk about stuff, and you're going to ask your question, and then you're going to wait, and then it's going to be translated. And there isn't the translator. There's just some gal who happens to speak both languages and is willing to do that. So I want to play that because that was super inspiring to me too.
out. But please, if we could keep people from trying to do other transactions until we actually hit the time, that would also help alleviate some of these symptoms.
就是其实他的意思就是说，这个 transaction 发出去了，但其实都是在几个本地的这个 node 之间 ，APP 那边 boot node 是没有看到 boot node 的这个信息是正确的，所以因为而且现在 boot node 现在它在一个暂停的状态嘛，所以它没办法把一些块给发出来，所以我们几个小的这个 local 的这个 cluster 里面可能就有这个 pending 的这个 transaction。
有可能。
对，那个我在我的浏览器里面看到了，就是跟刚才那个账号相关的那个交易只有一条，就是之前注册那条，然后之后的交易都没有进去。然后我看之前第一次的那个注册账号的那个公钥是对的，所以应该是我们本地的状态不对。OK。不对哎，还有一个问题。
You know, pretty much every time you see the screen change to a new face, these are people in different rooms, different buildings, and many of them different countries. So super, super inspiring to watch these video conferences happen. This next clip is just super exciting. This was after like days and days and days of testing and going back and forth, and then, you know, basically half the world saying, okay, we're ready to go, and I'm saying the Western world generally, probably not the right term, but, you know, Europe and the Americas and Africa, I believe, saying, okay, I think we're good to go, and largely the Chinese contingent of all those block producers saying, we really need to test this, this is an important thing, and a lot of people honestly seem to not want to hear that, but turned out to be a really good move. We found an operational thing that the block producers needed to be aware of the first day, and we found a bug the second day. So really, really well worth the time. And, you know, that's challenging when you want to move forward and it's been days and you're just exhausted. These people were up. The amount of sleep that was got in the first few days was just really minimal. So this is the final vote. This is when they were saying, do we launch this tomorrow or not? And it was just, you can see how excited everybody is. They'll ask people to put in the chat, because, you know, we have 200 people basically voting. So they ask them to say in the chat, go or no go. And you can watch the chat on the right-hand side, all these goes flying through.
I move that we make our go, no go vote immediately. Anyone say it?
Yeah, okay. I say so.
Good idea. Okay.
Everyone have the champagne ready?
I second that.
Okay,
I'll just quickly type it.
Irish style here.
So, given the vote we did last time, there shouldn't be a need for a vote this time, but we can still do it for recording.
That's actually true.
This is simply for historic purposes, and I think it would be nice. I'm even going, even though my vote doesn't count here, I still want to have my name in the congressional record.
So should we vote by all?
Yeah,
go!
Just give us a go, guys. Unmute everyone.
Unmute.
Go.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I think of all the other things I could have been doing with my life over the last year that I've put into this, and I can't think of anything that would be better than to be with all of you when this happens. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
I can see some people already popping champagne.
Usually while I launch the chain.
We get blocked.
You know, this was day 5 or something of the total process, so just so inspiring and fun to watch. This next clip is once they voted to go, the APB, the appointed block producer, turned on. They had the network live and paused so that they weren't passing blocks on. They weren't actually processing blocks. So you hear them say the term blocks flowing, which literally just means that the block producers are exchanging blocks.
Our own network. I've got an account, so some transactions are flowing in. So I got Reg Producer to work. Yeah, we got a 3, 2, 1 go from the ABP in the chat just like a minute ago. Yeah, I'm seeing some locally, but I'm not seeing them on other nodes, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's propagating.
Give it a sec.
I stopped receiving.
Yeah, node apparently is paused.
Mute yourself. If you're not talking, please mute yourself.
Now there are.
Of course, Josh, we are the ABP. That's why we were able to get our name.
Yep, the blocks are flowing.
Yeah, transactions.
Yeah, there's like 10 or 15 people in list producers.
Yep, we're live. We're going.
Good stuff, everyone.
More champagne?
So probably the restart.
So this was a super exciting moment when, after all of the votes and all of the testing and all the coordination, we finally had blocks flowing, which is the mainnet actually doing most of what it needs to do. And yet again, you can see the coordination. 200 people, bunch of people unmuted. Somebody says, "Let everybody mute if you're not talking," and it just goes silent immediately after. Like just the level of coordination by the end of this process was astronomical. This next clip is just a cool. Somebody asks what the experience was like, and I just wanted to play that for you because it was also super inspirational.
Has this been the best social experiment ever for everyone?
Yes.
It's glorious.
I give it up to that, Mark. Up to that.
If somebody told me a year ago that this was happening, I would have laughed. No way. It'll never happen. You can't get that many people to it.
Well, that was the...
And it's full consensus.
We did.
100% consensus in the last couple of days. It's been amazing. Yeah, I'm very humbled and blessed to have been a part of this. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Will.
Very much so. I think that's the thing that got me the most was the vote when everybody came together. We're talking about this huge global community, and everybody agreed that we were going to do this in a global manner. That we were all going to share this moment. That was not only. I was very pleasantly surprised because we talked about possible contention and splitting off, and everybody agreed to do this. That's exactly what this was all about. Yeah, it was special.
Totally agree, David.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a very, very global community.
One of the things that we've spoken of.
And this last clip just shows the final celebration after everything was working.
We need to have a counter running for all of us that totals up the amount of sleep we've missed over the last month. That's going to be a buffer overflow, I'm guessing.
Do we need 128-bit numbers for that, or what?
Yeah, I was going to say, we're staking sleep tokens.
It would be faster to count the hours we slept.
Yes.
Much smaller numbers.
I'm thinking that.
That's good. Well, we need to come up with the sleep SLEEP token that we've all been staking here to EOS actually up here.
Thanks everyone for everything. I'm leaving now.
Hello guys, I up the temporary monitor for mainnet. I put the link in the chat so you can open and see the progress. I will update it later and change the URL, but for now it's enough to see the producing data.
Thank you so much.
Pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Again, amazing work. Very proud to be part
One
of it.
more round of applause. Mark, thank you for being our master of ceremonies here. Excellent job.
Thank you, David. It was a pleasure, guys. It was an honor.
Wherever they are.
Great job, Ian.
We are the ABP.
Yeah,
We are the
MVP.
There we go. That's what I want. That's the shirt I want.
We are all Satoshi.
Wow.
So that wraps it up. I hope this gave you an insight into what the last few days have looked like. I was super inspired. I had sat in front of my computer for 8+ hours a day watching this stuff, and just wanted to share the highlights. Hope that really gave you a glimpse of what it was like, and appreciation for what was going on while you sat and watched the website not update. There was a lot going on in the background that I hope this communicates a little bit of. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, as you watch this, you're probably going to be inspired like I was, and feel free to comment. I'd love to hear how this impacts you. How this process impacted you. I've said a little bit about how it impacted me in this video, and it's so inspiring. I'd love to get your comments. So please comment some questions in the comments section. Thanks for watching.